finish it this week. How's your timetable this week?
Mine.
Every day until what? Wednesday, right? Thursday, Friday, no class, right?
Thursday we have class until Thursday.
Until Thursday.
Yeah.
Until this Thursday lah. So I would suggest Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, try to finish up these chapters. Chapter time can range from STEM BT only about 30 minutes, 40 minutes can finish. Chapter 4 can finish in 40 minutes. Chapter 8 can finish in 1 hour, 1.5 hours. But you might take longer lah. Okay. Chapter 10 is a long one. It's one paper for you.
Yes.
Faham tak? It's one paper for you, but you can finish in 4 hours. 4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours you should be able to finish all the sales and service tax lah, maximum.
4 hours video.
Yeah, about 4 hours lah.
Oh my.
Sales and service, you study the whole semester for sales and service tax. You understand, no? You can finish in 4 hours. Can So that shouldn't be so bad. Okay? Okay, we are going back into this one over here. Can you just look at
So for SST it will include business combination, right?
SST will not have a business combination
Oh,
course.
will not have.
Will not. You all have business combination in your current SST? No, right? Don't have. Don't worry about it.
Oh, so there's only like individual corporation.
I mean, SST will normally be company type, group type situation.
Oh.
Group. Okay, so let's have a look at this part. We stopped at question number 19. So we're doing question number 20. Okay. Can you look at the question called 20? So we're looking at something called RMB is a newly incorporated company. Year end September 18, submitted their tax return on 20th April 2019. Director want to make correction by 25th April 2019, but IRB prevented this one. Why did IRB prevent the update of the whole thing? Anybody knows? Why did IRB prevent the update? What's the reason? Because?
You are submit this. Because you already submit this.
Because they what?
They had submit the files.
Okay, the reason why they are prevented is because it is not yet. Look at the year end.
30
What's the reason? Anybody knows? Because why? Reason is the window. The window has not opened yet. Does that make sense? When you say the window is not open, make sure you understand what's the meaning of that. When is the date you can submit? Year ending is when? Final date for tax return is what? What's the date? What's the last date you can submit?
31st October.
Year ending 30th September. When is your year the tax return submission date? Berapa bulan?
3 bulan. 6 months.
Tax return kat sini. Let's see. Tax return is here, and 7 months later submit.
Oh, 7 months later.
Are you clear or not? You
Yes.
must submit 7 months later. It's 7 months later on. 7 months later tu bila?
April. April ke March? April. April. 30th April. 7 months later.
Kan? 30th April. So in this case, RMB want to submit on 25th April. Cannot. Does that make sense?
Oh.
Kan?
1st May 2019 and will last for 6 months.
Amendment was rejected because can see no? Yeah. Okay, now the next part. Here, RMB has found additional 2,000 tax to be paid, and the directors amended it. How much tax do you have to pay? How much tax do you have to pay?
One additional 1,000 tax to be paid and the directors amended it.
Alright, how much? Clear? Are we okay?
So after 2019 pun still 10%. Tak payah 15%.
Tak, itu dah stop already. It's old rule. That one is already last time got rule where you submit correction a bit later from a certain point, you get to pay 15%. Mas tambah lagi 5%. Sekarang no more, flat 10%. Are you clear? Did you learn that 10-15% rule?
Ya, SST.
SST lain. SST lain. SST got. This one is corporate tax correction. That one is delay in submission.
Oh.
Don't confuse all the rates. Can Okay, now let's move on. Let's look at this part. Finality of assessment. Assessment made shall be final and conclusive where no valid notice against appeal of assessment has been given. Okay, so you didn't give a notice. An agreement has been arrived to an appeal made. You make an appeal and you come to an agreement. Assessment made on an appeal or valid notice against appeal but appellant died before hearing. Meaning, once this four situation happen, whatever the income tax assess, close, case close. They won't assess again. Does that make sense? So this is the rule. Let's say you do your taxes, you submit for the company. Until the 5-year end, they can investigate your company and do a revision, ask you to get audited, ask you to submit things and all that. At that point, you have to defend your company. Does that make sense? So at that point, if they say, okay, this is the amount to pay, case closed. Close to the assessment. So I got like students who say that they actually wait for the IRB to actually make a kind of own assessment, their own self-assessment, and they say it's cheaper than paying the tax because IRB underestimate. Okay, so it is something they do sometimes. Now offences, incorrect return, you get fine of 1,000 to 10,000. Penalty up to 2 times tax undercharge. Willful evasion of tax, you got fine 1,000 to 20,000 or 3-year jail term. Okay. Obstructing IRB office, that means IRB office sometimes will come and do a raid. Okay, you will go and do a raid on a company. Are you clear now? So if you do a raid on a company, then you're going there to collect information. At that point, the company blocks the staff, the IRB officer and all that, there's a fine. Does that make sense? So fine 10,000 or jail 1 year. And if you don't keep record of agent, record of employee, agents or staff leaving, withholding tax will be, or withholding tax for employee leaving, there's a fine of 200 to 20k and 6 months. Now, will IRB use the jail term? Yes, no?
Yes.
Very, very rare. Why? Because they need money. But why is the jail term still there?
Yes.
It's like a backup. It's a backup law to catch criminals. Sometimes they cannot catch the criminal and put them in jail because there's no evidence. Maybe the criminal killed the person and all that already, so there's no evidence. So they use the tax as a way to catch the criminal and put them in jail. That's what happened to Al Capone. You know Al Capone, the mafia gangster in America?
No.
They only managed to catch him using tax law.
Oh.
They sent him to jail using tax law. They didn't send him to jail. He murdered a lot of people, he do drugs, he do everything illegal, but no evidence. The only thing they can get evidence is tax fraud. He didn't submit the correct income, so they use that, like 3-year jails, 1 year jail. So each year they put 3 year, 30 years. Does that make sense? That's the reason why that jail term is there. Usually IRB shouldn't trigger that move, but they have that as an intimidation tool. Are you clear? They have that as an intimidation tool. Now, but it's going to be hard for them to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Okay. Now the next thing is appeals. Okay, appeals. Agreed by assessment made. You can appeal to IRB when you have a problem. That means they make an assessment or you don't feel it's fair. You agree by assessment made by DG. Appeal can be made to Special Commissioner against the assessment. State the grounds of appeal and other particulars. That means what is the reason and what's the basis of doing this appeal. Okay. This must be done within 30 days of service of the notice of an assessment. Okay, now, in the case of advanced assessment, the time limit for valid appeal is within first 3 months of year of assessment following the year of assessment for which assessment was made. So there is something called advanced assessment. It means the IRB assess you before the whole process. That's called advanced assessment. The other one is they assess you after you submit. You submit your return, they assess you. If they assess you after you submit return, you have 30 days. Are you clear? Now, what has IRB done recently? They simply change your address. They can change your address. Somebody will go inside the system and change your address. They have the power to change your address. They go and change. This is the naughty IRB agents or the officers who are lazy. So what they will do is they will just change your address first, and then send a notice to you which you will never get. Once you get that situation, then what happens is you don't respond to the notice, they close the case and they summon you straight.
Oh, they can do that.
That's the law, because you're supposed to respond within
30 days.
You don't respond within 30 days because you don't know you got a letter.
So they tak hantar email?
They are supposed to send email also, but if they are doing dirty play, they will just send your email somewhere else.
Can we sue them back?
You have to prove it that they did something stupid like this.
Oh, we need to prove lah.
Okay, now the next thing, tax appeal against deemed assessment. Now, when you say tax appeal against deemed assessment, tax appeal against assessment raised by DGIR, okay, tax appeal against estimated assessment. Okay, now tax appeal against deemed assessment. Okay, the word deemed assessment is what you submit. When you submit, the word deemed assessment means is what you submit to IRB. So you prepare your tax return and you submit, correct? Give it back. When you give, okay, are only allowed to appeal against deemed assessment on 3 things. That means you follow the rule, but you have to appeal on the rule. Okay, repeat again. You follow the rule as per public, the press release or the what do you call the guidelines given by IRB, okay, or the notice given by IRB, okay, the guidelines given by IRB. So you know where IRB gives all those guidelines, right? Got the public rulings. PR is public ruling.
Yes.
Okay, so you go here. And if let's say you are preparing your tax cop, you go to this. I don't know why this place is so slow. Okay, you go to this one, this place, guys. Okay, LHDN public ruling. Can you go there? Put it there.
LHDN public ruling.
Dapat ke? So when you prepare your tax com, you have to follow what they say here. You can see now. Over here, let's say they say, okay, fine, a reinvestment allowance, you got reinvestment, or you got LLP, and then you want to find out how to do LLP. You have to follow what they say here, whether you agree or not. Are you clear now? So you follow exactly what is done here. Now, after you follow, you say like, actually, I don't agree with something that you wrote here. You say like, oh, I actually don't agree with your treatment here. So I'm going to appeal on that treatment. I follow first, but I appeal. Does that make sense? Fair enough? So that's what this is. Okay. Are you clear on the first one? The first box? That is, when you prepare, you follow as per IRB and prepare. But if you disagree, you give your reason for disagree by appeal. Next one, tax appeal against assessment raised by DGIR. So DGIR might raise as an assessment against you. So you might be able to appeal. Assessment made on best judgment if taxpayer failed to submit or due to tax audit. So there could be assessment, can be two reasons. One is you didn't submit. Number 2 is due to tax audit. Does that make sense? So 2 reasons. Now, tax appeal against estimated assessment. Tax appeal against estimated assessment by submitting Form Q within 30 days. So they might give you an estimate. That's different a bit. They have an estimate and they prepare an estimate and give it to you. Got it? Okay, now, notice of non-chargeability, meaning sometimes you have no tax, but you still dispute with IRB. Why? Even though no tax, maybe you dispute on the idea of an expense. IRB say this expense cannot allow. You say no, this expense must allow. I want more loss. Because you can still carry forward a loss or carry forward a capital allowance. IRB might still argue with that. Does that make sense? So that is called notice of non-chargeability. You still can appeal against it. Now, public ruling 30 days and 5 years for exemption and relief. You still have that choice. Error or mistakes is within 6 months, and withholding tax deduction is within 1 year. These are the time limit for the appeals. Appeal. Yeah, time limit for appealing. Relief for error and mistake. Okay, now, if you make a mistake in your submission, now mistake got two types of mistake. This mistake here refers to overtax, where you make a mistake and you got taxed more. Are you clear? You got taxed more than what you are supposed to pay. Then excessive for some error or mistake made in the tax return. Within 5 years after the end of year assessment, make an application in writing for the relief. You have only a 5-year window. After you discover the mistake, you can request for a relief. Made in the same manner as a notice if appeal against assessment. So the assessment is the same. Now, if the claim is rejected, it can be appealed to Special Commissioner, SCIT, Special Commissioner of Income Tax. Okay, 5 years related to year of assessment when it was raised. Appeal over other aspects of error also possible. If taxpayer is aggrieved by decision of DG, you should solve within 6 months. So you got a time limit of within 6 months to solve the problem. DG shall within 3 months of getting, after receiving the request, forward the appeal to Special Commissioner. So this is effective from 1 January 2017. So this is called the relief. Remember, relief for mistake or error. Okay, now next part, we're looking at tax collection. How is tax collected from people? If you have salary, your tax payment or due date is 30th April each year for physical, and the online submission is by 30th April for paper-based submission. Online submission 15 May. May. Okay, 15 May. Now, tax collection, individual with business, 30th June each year, got it? By 30th June each year, you have to already submit the tax or pay the tax. So that's your submission of your tax returns. Remember, your tax returns. Company, LLP, trust, and everything else is 7 months after year end. So that's your timing. You must pay 30 days within the service of notice of assessment. So once you submit on 15 May, you must settle by 30 days. Got it? So if you submit on April, you must pay by the end of May. Clear?
So what's the difference between business and the corporation, LLP and stuff?
The difference between individual always follow calendar year. Remember? Basis period is always calendar year, and they submit on the June. Okay, 30th June, but you got until 15 July. Online is 15 July.
So this one is like sole proprietorship lah.
Sole proprietors. Okay, sole proprietors, partnership. Partnership, sole proprietor is 30th June and can extend up to 15th of July because they submit online. So are you clear on that one? So company, LLP, trust, all is 7 months after year end. Are we clear? Okay, now payment of tax is within 30 days of the date of service of notice of assessment or composite assessment. 30 days. Company, what they do is you have section 107C. Deem assessment less section 107C. What is section 107C? It's your installments. Remember, company have to pay installments, correct? Company have to pay installments. For individuals is section 107B. Okay, Individuals here, so company analytic is 107C, individuals with business source is 107B, and individuals without business source could be 107B or 107. Got it? What is this? This one here, section 107 is your salary deduction. Remember monthly salary deduction for tax? That's over here. Okay? If you fail to pay on the date, it leads to a 10% penalty on the tax outstanding. If you default on an installment, there's a 10% default installment charge also. Does that make sense? Okay, right. The next one, you have something called tax estimation. You remember your tax estimation? You must provide tax estimate to DG which is no less than 85% of the estimate or revised estimate of the previous year. Make sense? Okay. Company must start paying their tax estimates by 15th day of every month in equal installment beginning from the second month. Okay, keyword, equal installment 15th. If you delay from the 15th, it's called a default. And you get charged 10%. Got it? Okay. Now, company must start paying their tax estimate by 15th day of every month, equal installment, second month. New company can start from the 6th month. So old companies must start paying from the second month onwards. New companies start paying from the 6th month. Now, company can submit a revised estimate on the 6th and the 9th month. Now they've added one more called 11th month. Make a note. They've also added one more called So they've added 3 junctions where an estimate can be revised. Got it? Now, SMEs are exempt from the need for tax estimate for the first 2 years as long as it's not controlled or in control of a related company. So remember, as long as not controlled, you should be able to submit for that. No need to submit for the first 2 years, SME. SME, there is no basis for the first and second year of assessment, is exempted from submitting tax estimate for the first 3 years of assessment. So if you got no basis period for the first year, second year, you are exempted 3 years. So SME got one small benefit, no need to submit estimates. What's an SME?
Small
Or medium enterprise.
When is it SME? When is it meeting criteria for SME?
less the annual
Income is
threshold less
500,000.
500,000.
Less than
500,000.
500,000 what?
Annual threshold. Annual.
Annual what?
Annual turnover.
Annual turnover some more?
Hmm?
Got 3 conditions.
Oh,
Okay,
lagi.
Annual sales turnover is
Ada bawah tadi. SME kan?
SME, where is it?
Bawah tadi. Okay, tu.
Must be not exceed 50 million, you say 500. Okay. Must have business source and must have paid up capital less than 2.5 million. And not owned directly or indirectly by a related company. 4 conditions. Okay, 4 conditions.
Jauh gitu.
Now let's move on. Okay, now have a look at this question. So the rule here is beginning 30 days before the year end. Before the year end, make a note. 30 days before year end. Provide estimate of tax payable. You fill in something called CP204. Okay. Second month onwards, you start paying the installment every 15. Now, 6 and 9 month revision for the tax estimate can be made. You can revise. Ending, complete the financial year and close the accounts. Now, 7 months later, last date, submit tax return based on the audited financial statement. Now, the word audited financial statement is not compulsory because some companies are exempt. So if they are exempt, they don't need to prepare audited financial statement. Okay, now have a look at this question here. Frost Senat Berhad is trading company that closes its accounts on 31st March. They submitted original estimate of 120,000 per year of assessment 2020 on 2nd September 2019. Before their fifth installment, they revised to 180,000. However, after September, their tax estimate is expected to be 350,000. Okay, now how do you handle this one? What do you have to do? So, required calculate the monthly revised tax installment after submission of revision in September 2019. State the action to be taken in expectation of 350,000 estimate. If no action taken, final tax is 400,000. What will be the penalty charge? Okay, so there are three situations here. Can you calculate how much is the revised monthly installment? Do you know how to calculate? Okay, how much is the current monthly installment? Can you get 10,000? Okay, now revised monthly installment. How many months are it? How many months are it? They submitted original estimate 120 on 2nd September before their fifth installment.
5 months already. 180,000 minus times 4. Why 4, sir?
Before their fifth
Oh,
installment.
before. Means 4 months lah.
Ah. What do you get?
Why minus 10,000?
Your current monthly installment. The bayar kan 10. Are you clear? Kan ah?
Kalau dengan 10,000 lah sir. Kalau dengan 10,000.
10,000 times 4. 40,000 kan?
So
Buat mas.
Oh,
Bracket,
40,000.
operator. Should be.
So the answer is
17.1. Yes, you're right. When you get 17.5, if you got different number, you got problem with bot mass. Do you know what is bot mass?
no. Yes.
bracket.
Yes.
Oh.
Apa jadi?
Jangan marah.
Ah.
Apa letup? Apa jatuh?
Tak apa saya.
Oh, tak ada. I thought the pad wants to commit suicide. Okay, right. Are you clear on how to get 17,500? Yes, no.
Yes.
Right? Okay, now the next part. That's the first two parts. Okay. However, after September, the estimates expected. Okay, what can they do? What can they do? Revisions here. However, after September, the tax estimate is expected to 3. After revision, they cannot revise in September. Can? Are you clear? Follow? So here, revision can be made in December before the 9th installment is paid. In this case, what's going to happen? Can you calculate again? Okay, I'm gonna let you calculate. Revise monthly. How much is it? Thursday, what time is your classes at? Thursday, what time is your class?
From 8:30 until 2:30.
Oh, that means I can have a class from 2:30 to 5:30. No, sorry. 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Or you want to have class on Friday?
Friday we have
On
no class.
Thursday can sir.
Thursday better, is it?
Thursday.
Thursday, and Monday, maximum? Up to 5, Tuesday, what time is your class? Whole day.
Tuesday until 2:30.
Oh, you only have 8, 11:30 to 2:30. All finished by 2:30.
Yes.
Tuesday is it?
Ah.
I got class on 3 until 5.
You got extra class, you got until 5.
3 until 5. I got class Tuesday.
What class?
Strategy management.
Okay. So, either Thursday or Friday lah. Thursday or free, after 2:30.
Sir, but machine tax on delay sir exam.
Huh? No. You're not here, is it, on Thursday? You balik kampung. Not this Thursday, don't worry. Not this Thursday. I'm not planning this Thursday. Probably in June, the month of June. Okay, right. Now, let's get back to this. How much the revised monthly installment, guys? How much? How much?
90.
19. Nope.
90K.
90K. Wrong. Can I get another answer? Mathematics best.
300,000.
So basically if we
Sir, lebih daripada jawapan ni ke apa?
Hah?
Lebih daripada jawapan.
Wrong.
Lebih daripada jawapan saya.
Lebih, no kurang.
Kurang. 300,000.
Hah?
300,000.
sekejap saya.
Hello.
Saya revise kan, revise.
Kenapa?
Sekejap. Okey, sekejap.
How much?
Oh, guna 400 dan 360
Sekejap sir. Aku jawab tadi salah.
Hmm.
30. 350. Tak, I dapat 30,000. Salah.
Jadi saya susah. Macam makin complicated lagi ni.
Okey.
Are you okay?
Oh, okay. Faham.
The next one that you got there is going to be how is this? So in this case, final tax is how much? Original estimate is how much? Without the correction. $180. Difference is 220,000. Yes or no? Got it?
Dekat level berapa dah ni? Dekat level berapa?
9.
9.
More over original estimate is that over?
Ya ke?
Jangan
Tak nak.
So here, pay attention. What's the excess? Okay. Done. Yeah.
So what does it mean by excess allowed?
That means you are allowed up to 120,000. There is no extra tax. But once you pass 30% of the original estimate, that means you exceed more than that, you get penalty of 10% on anything extra.
Oh,
So that means here's your estimate, here's your difference, got it?
okay.
That's the difference, okay? That's the amount you're paying now. That's the actual tax you have to pay because your installment you paid 180 already, but your actual tax is 400,000. But then IRB will say like, why you never pay earlier? You're supposed to pay earlier. We give you variation 30%. Above 30% variation, you pay penalty. Does that make sense? Understand this rule or not? All clear?
220
Is the excess you have to pay. But IRB only allow you maximum 120 only from your original. That means you can go up to 300,000. They still okay lah, you know. They wouldn't have. But so at this junction, anything above that you have to pay penalty. So the penalty is the difference, excess. The difference versus the excess allowed. Okay? Okay. Now let's move on to the next part. ABC Sdn Bhd was incorporated With a share capital of 5 million, it started trading on 1 November 2019 and closed its account on 31st January 2018. State the first year of assessment, first basis period, and due date for tax estimate.
Biasa. Basic security of the security of 5 million and start to
November, December.
Fill up the numbers.
Oh,
Let me see, first question is,
dia kata basis period. First basis period. Oh, first year
basic
assessment.
period and due date of tax estimate.
okay, first year of assessment.
Year assessment 2018.
And you write it in the first year of assessment already.
2016.
Set attendance.
Yeah, doing it.
Oh, lupa nak tanda. Lupa nak tanda attendance. Sekejap.
Bila lagi? Sebelum.
Yang mana psikologi? Itu. Kejap, saya tak tanda lagi saya. Wait. But date is today 8 May.
Done guys? Fill up all the data already?
Wait sir.
Waiting for me. Fill up first, just tekan first. Let's estimate first. Doesn't need to be right. Today is 08. Okay, let's look at this one. First year of assessment. Go in and do your attendance first.
Wait sir, dia tanda siapa? Sekejap. Baiklah. Interview. Ya. Nama saya tak ada. What's my name? Scroll atas sikit, saya nak tengok nama. Tak ada my name.
What your name not here?
Siti Madiha.
Arif. You got 2 accounts, you know. I have to delete one.
Bisa submit.
This one can delete, right? You're using this one, right?
Jadi. Sekejap.
Which one? The one that you're using right now is
Kau buka plastik aku ambil air.
No, I can't see that.
Belah kanan sekali.
You can see that. This one is okay, right? Okay, I'm gonna remove the first one.
Tengok yang saya tulis tadi boleh tak? Saya tulis apa tadi? Saya tulis apa tadi? Nak tengok tak? Ni. Ni depan yang tak yang saya tulis depan tadi.
Okay, you done guys? All done?
Wait sir, check attendance sir.
All done?
I have submitted.
Jangan cancel. Nak ada Shirika.
Okay.
Okay, all done?
Then
Alright, so let's. Sabrina, give me your first year of assessment.
2016.
20?
16.
2016. Wrong.
17 ke sir?
2017.
Aisyah, first year of assessment.
Tak minum yang brain. 2017.
Where's Aisyah? Yeah, Aisyah. What year? Can't hear you. 20?
This is period sir.
B ke sir?
Nabil?
Period.
Tak pasti.
SMP kan sih?
Is it SME? SME?
Oh,
SME?
tak.
Betul? Tak pasti. Imagine the doctor said, this one COVID ke tak COVID? Tak pasti.
Oh,
Sama jawapan dia.
risau.
Understand the meaning that you are doing,
Visit.
Sick. Remember, you are studying what doctors study medicine, you study accountancy. Your classification, your decision is same as doctor deciding on your health condition. If doctor make mistake, you die. Accountant make mistake, company pay. Are you clear now? Penalty lah, that lah, this. So you must remember, what are you? A professional, equivalent to doctor, engineer, lawyer, architect. Architect make mistake, building collapse, people die in Syria. And in Turkey and all that places when they had an earthquake. Why? Architect failure. Incompetent architect.
31st May, you did what?
Understand, So please remember, your ability to write the judgment is correct. That's why I'm asking you a question. Now you make judgment error, it's okay, classroom. But in the real life, you make judgment error, it can be very painful. They can sue you for it. Remember, you are a professional. You can go to jail also for it. You are aware you can go to jail for it, right? You guys are aware that accountants make mistake, you can go to jail.
Oof.
Be very clear, because there's something that there's a rule that they can drag you to jail for your mistake. Criminal. So be very careful. The job is a very dangerous job.
Even though we don't have intention, sir.
You don't have intention to become accountant?
No, we don't have intention to make mistake.
No, it doesn't matter. You don't have intention. Negligence is negligence. Understand the meaning? It doesn't really matter. Not my intention, but they don't care. Negligence is negligence. Clear? Okay. So let's look at this part. Now let's look at this. What's the date? So when I ask you a question, it's like, you know, in medical school, they cut the body, they say, what happened to this patient? Medical school, that's what they do lah. Apa jadi patient ni? What happened to him? Tell me what was wrong. And then you go like, oh, I think he got leg cancer. Actually, he got brain cancer, you say leg cancer. Answer is same. Got it? Okay. So, next person. Abil, tak pasti ke? Cari jawapan dengan ChatGPT? Tak boleh. Nisha? Where's Nisha? Nisha? Tahun berapa year of assessment? 2017. Year of assessment follow for company based on?
The year incorporated.
Oh, you complete, you're closing accounts.
2018.
Oh, 2018.
First year of assessment is 2018. Okay, next person.
First basis period is like
Nurin. Nurin? First basis period.
31st Jan. Oh, okay. First Feb ni. Start dengan first Feb. Betul tak start dengan first Feb? start yang first Feb ni.
Yeah.
First Feb kan? First Feb until 12 bulan. Betul tak?
Start bila? Start.
Yes.
Dia tak, dia habis 31st Jan. Tu soalan dia.
Hmm.
2016. Basis period. You know what basis period? Basis period should be.
Dia macam rasa
Wah, you all forget everything.
One Feb.
Yes, one hari raya you all give me everything.
2017, I think.
One time pergi hari raya come back gone. Brain dah kosong.
Yang tadi betul.
31 October.
But the base. Oh.
Payah raya ni.
Lepas raya habis. So in this case,
It's a 10 to 18. Okay. The tax estimate. It's the trading period for non.
March. That's it.
so what's the due date for tax estimate? Last date? When's the last date? Tax estimate should be? You tell. Okay? Number one? Are you okay?
Dan ada question.
Done, huh? Okay. Can I move on?
Yes.
Biasa.
Take 5, sir.
Break,
Break.
We need to rest our brain.
We started 12:30. 1:30 only, 1 hour. I will break. 2 o'clock.
Okay.
The trading period for non-SME is more than 6 months. Oh.
Okay, can I move on?
Trading
So
period.
basically, in the real exam, you might make mistakes. Have you started making a 3-page note? Or a 6-page note?
Not yet, sir.
I buat exemption.
3-page notes.
Baru you punya notes.
3-page notes means we can only bring 2 paper, 2 piece of paper. 3 paper. Oh.
Tengok soalan pasir. And then dia punya structure sama je kan? I mean like the topic.
No, it can be printed also.
Oh.
Is it printed or? Yeah, printed also.
Ada 8 question kan sir? So 8 question tu dia subtopic or
Similar topic.
similar topic kan? Okay. Sebab I
One
dah,
is individual tax, one is.
sebab I
tax.
tengok yang banyak markah dekat chargeable income tax payable 20 marks and then RPGT 10 marks yang boleh score. And then dia 100% tu 1% 1 mark out kan?
Okay, can I move on?
Sir, trading period sama same with basis period ke sir?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Not necessary. Basis period is usually the financial year end, remember? We already studied basis period adjustment up here, you remember? Up here, look at your notes here. We already did basis up here already. Remember the first thing we did? Basis. Mana basis? Atas kali kan? Basis we already finished already, right? Remember basis adjustments and all that? Okay, now we're coming back to LLP. Let's run through LLP first. LLP, what's the big difference? It's a new business vehicle, limited liability exposure, structured business vehicle. Structured means that it's a structured to it. Unlike the sole trader, which is unstructured. Alright? Easier and cheaper to keep compared to company, but also benefit from corporate rates. Now, actually, LLP in Malaysia is very flexible compared to overseas. Overseas, LLP only given for lawyers, doctors, and engineers, accountants, all that. But in Malaysia, anybody can set up LLP. So the idea of LLP in Malaysia is a very open idea, as opposed to overseas. Overseas, LLP is a very narrow idea, only given to professionals. What's the difference? LLP and company, from tax point of view, basis of residence is management and control of business, whereas for partnership is based on the residence of the partner. Tax rate is now 17%, 24%. Do remember we also now have 15% already, yes or no? Yeah, we have 15% also, correct? You all know the 15%, right?
Yes, but the applicable as well.
The applicable that for this year onwards.
You start bila sir? The date?
It started as of for 2023. 2023 all is applicable already. Okay? Okay. So in this case, 15%. You know the 15% is for first 100,000. Okay? Then after that is 17%. Then after that 24%. That's for SME. But for non-SME, flat 24%. Are you okay? Okay. So, whereas the tax rate is individual for partnership, then incorporation cost and small asset, if share capital and contribution does not exceed 2.5 million, unlimited accelerated allowance. Whereas on the other side, is not available for partnerships, correct? Not available for partnerships. Profit distribution exempt in the hand of the receiver. Okay, exempt in the hand of the receiver, meaning whatever profit that the company or LLP people get is exempted. But it's taxable for partnership. Now, capital allowance losses recognized and carried forward at entity level. Okay, you can carry forward, whereas at partnership you carry forward at partnership level or partner level. Partner salary deductible if included in the contract. Here, not relevant. Here, not deductible. Conversion rules, there is something called control transfer rules. Have I done control transfer with you all? Not yet. Not yet, right? Okay. Control transfer is something that occurs for capital allowance. Alright, we'll come to that later on. LLP needs something called a compliance officer, like a company secretary, to take charge of the administration. If it's not there, the partner take liability. Done. The next area we're looking at is something called investment holding company and investment dealing company. Now there are two differences here. An investment dealing company is one that trade security, land and buildings. They're buying and selling land, they're buying and selling building, and they're buying and selling shares. Got it? Whereas the investment holding company is its holding investment in terms of property and shares. Clear? Now, in terms of charging section, now when you say charging section, investment dealing company, any trade that they do, any business they do is all under 4A. Yeah, is business income. Whereas for investment holding company, they only have 4C, 4D, 4E, 4F. There is nothing else. There's only 3 sections that can be charged under. Deduction of expense is normal rules for investment dealing. Investment holding, they only have something called a special deduction. Okay, now, business loss. Here they can claim, the other side cannot claim business loss. Relief for capital expenditure also. Here can claim CA, IBA. Investment holding company cannot claim CA. Once you're classified as investment holding, you cannot claim CA. IBA if you have rental or factory or something like that, right? Profit from sale of investment is revenue gains and taxable for investment dealing company. But profit from sale of investment for investment holding company is capital gain, not taxable. Okay, so in this case, there is a calculation for investment holding company. Once it is an IHC, it is treated as such for the next year. Non-IHC that loses business income temporarily is not IHC. That means if you lose business income, it means you're doing business for a while, you got no business income, doesn't make you an investment holding company. You have this idea of permitted expense, which is going to be 5% of A and A times B over 4C. Okay, there's a calculation here which we'll look at. B is gross taxable income, C is gross income from all sources. What is permitted expenses? These are all the permitted expenses you can get: director fee, wages, salary, and so forth. Expenses not fully utilized cannot be carried forward. So you don't use the expense, no carry forward. Now over here, there is something called LIHC and UIHC. LIHC is listed investment holding company. Listed investment holding company. UIHC is unlisted investment holding company. Got it? Now, listed means it must be in Bursa. It must be in Bursa, not just Berhad. Berhad may not be listed. Okay? Okay, next part. Investment income, business, non-business source. So, LIHC, everything is a business. Whereas UIHC, it's all non-business source. Other income is always classified as 4A, whereas for UIHC, it's always classified as 4F. Deductions of expenses normal, can carry forward capital allowance. Here, not eligible. Losses can be brought forward, but there is a limitation of what you can bring forward. Do make a note here. Rental and dividend are seen as deemed business income. Okay, it's seen as a deemed business income. Okay, can I move on? Right, let's have a look at these questions here. This is to determine whether they are investment holding company or not. Okay, so let's look at the first one. The rule for investment holding company is that 80% of gross income come from investments. So in this case, A is not a got it? Okay. Each company has committed expense of 20,000. Calculate chargeable income.
Panas tak dia mula masuk kelas.
Done. Are we okay there? Now, the next one is going to be B. Is B an investment holding company? Rental and interest. So this one you have to minus the 5%. Or, remember, what is the gross income? So you do have to calculate this one. The gross A is going to be 20,000. B is going to be so what's the answer, guys? So the answer here is 20K. What do you get? $5,000, is it? Yes, no?
Yes.
Is it 5,000? Let's confirm. 5,000, right?
Yes.
And the other one is 5% of 20K. How much is that? So hold on, 5% of B. Let me double check this one. This is going to be 5% of B. What do you get? You're going to get 5% of B is going to be 4,000. So the lower of this is going to be, what do you get?
500.
Is it 4,500?
Yeah.
Yes, right.
1,500.
10, huh? So your answer should be 9. Which is lower?
4,000.
This one's 5,000, huh? Confirm, huh?
Yes, confirm.
So answer here should be 4, 9. 9. Oh, how much is it? 9. 100,000 minus 4,005, you should get. Is it 955 to go? Yes, no? Can, huh? Follow up? You, okay. Got it? Okay, let's look at C. Can you do C? Is C investment holding company? Yes, no? Correct? Give me the calculation. much is C? Calculated?
Just been cover both ears.
Answer? C is?
Investment target mana?
How much is the investment income? 85,000 is? Are you clear now? Got it there?
Kenapa tak tambah 15,000?
Huh?
Kenapa 85 tak tambah 15,000?
15,000 is not investment income. Other income. Are you okay? Tajul income is? How much is it minus?
Uh, 5% times 85,000.
Remember, C is all income, including capital gain. B is taxable income. Okay? Whatever that can be taxed includes your dividend. Okay, dividend income is also put inside there. Okay, now have a look at this part. So what the answer here is going to be 4250, and here is going to be 5,000, right?
The lower is
4250. And what do you get? 90.
uh, 95050
95.
Z75750.
Okay, done. Are we okay to start? Can? Any questions? Follow. Can I move on? Okay. D, yeah? Yes, no? No. How many percent? It's only about
50%.
10.
So,
Yeah.
for the A is 20k or 90k in the
A is 20k.
20k.
No, no. This one I told you to change this to B. Change this to B.
Or
Change to B. Change that to B. Can? Yeah. Got it? Clear? Okay, now let's move on. Have a look at this question here. Question 27 here. Calculate chargeable income for 2 years. Okay, let me just put this in for you. Interest income, rental,
5,000.
when you got read, okay, just put everything inside there, got it? Unit trust, all of this is going to be your, what do you call, investment returns, yes or no?
Profit on realization of the
Also you have to put in, but remember, that one is important for calculation of C. C. Then you got but it's not going to be calculated inside here. Remember, it's not going to be part of your charge because they ask you for chargeable income, correct? So we call this aggregate income. Now, after aggregate income, committed expenses. After that, you got your
statutory income.
it's chargeable. Okay, now hurry up. Put all things inside. Okay, let's go through the first one. Rent interest income, let's put in first. 5,500, correct? Rental income?
60,000.
No, it's not 60. At the minus of the bank interest for property.
Oh.
So it's going to be 30,000 and are we okay there? Okay, the balance, can you just fill it in? Be the same. The REIT is going to be 15,000 and
8,000.
unit returns are going to be
5,000, 2,000. 10,000, 10,000.
Profit and disposal is going to be 0, 0. It's not chargeable income, remember? Not chargeable income, okay? Yeah? But does affect the calculation of C. Okay, next part. We'll just aggregate this up.
CTV 1,000.
Okay, the next thing you have to calculate is the permitted expense, which is going to be calculated here. Okay, so B, you know, how much is B? B is your chargeable gross income. How much is your chargeable gross income? So B is going to be a chargeable gross income, which is, let's say in this case is 5,000, 60,000, 15,000, 5,000. Gross investment income. Add it up and see. This is 20, so total should be 85,000. C is gross investment income. B is gross investment income chargeable to tax. C is gross investment income. So this one, the 4,000 will be included. So this becomes 89,000. A is your permitted expense, which includes your, well, you're not going to put your depreciation, you're going to put your 1,006, add it up now, 1,006 plus your 5,000 plus your 720 plus 1,250 plus 6,000. What do you get? Ignore the depreciation. What do you get?
$14,570.
So here,
Itu kat itu. Mungkin
done. Are you okay there? Can you do for 2019? Arya?
A dia 16,000. 16,970.
B, B,
Thousand.
45,000.
C, 45,000 also. Can?
So C tu tadi apa sah?
C include profit realization ya sir.
Yeah. There's zero profit realization, right? Can? Okay, any questions? Follow?
Yes sir.
Okay, done. That covers the calculation for permitted expense computation, and you are at C. Give you a break here. Take 15 minutes.